of webinars that we'll be providing on MACRA and MIPS. The focus of today will be on improvement activities. My name is Chris Conrad, and I'm the product manager here at Amazing Charts. Alongside me today are Chris Tremblay, Director of Product Strategy, and Kate Vanderweef, and they'd be assisting me with any questions that you may have. Speaking about questions, we're going to hold off on taking any questions until the end of the presentation, but feel free to submit them throughout the presentation by entering them in the little chat window in the webinar toolbar over to the right-hand side. All right, and then we'll be recording these throughout the day, aggregating them, and then address them at the end of the presentation. So let's talk a little bit about the subjects that we'll be covering today. Just as we did in the other presentations in this series, we're going to start off with a brief overview of the basics on MACRA MIPS. We're going to cover the basics of the improvement activities, which will also include a brief tour of CMS's QPP website. And as I've mentioned previously, this site is really well done. And if you haven't seen it yet, I encourage you to spend a little bit of time acclimating yourself to the tools they offer. The link to the site is included in this PowerPoint, which we emailed to all of you earlier. The slides can also be found in the handout section of the GoTo webinar down near that chat window as well. There's a little button that says slides, and if you open that up, you'll see this presentation as well as some others that we felt would be very helpful. All right. You do need the Adobe Reader to open them, and if you don't have it handy right now, then just download it after presentation. You'll have access to that. Okay, we're also going to show you the differences between the three levels of participation: test, partial, and full, also referred to as pass. We're going to also demonstrate how you use Amazing Charts in some cases to track your progress on the improvement activities that you have selected. We'll also review how improvement activities contribute to your overall composite score. And then we'll briefly discuss submissions and then wrap up with questions at the end. Now, as I mentioned, please feel free to submit your questions during the presentation using that comment box. We should have ample time for questions. We've scheduled this webinar for an hour, but it's probably 30 minutes tops. It's by far the easiest of the three performance categories to explain. As you see, I don't think you're going to have any problem receiving your 15 points for this category with minimal effort. Okay. Let me, I got to sync here a little bit. Okay. The next couple slides are going to be a recap of the program in general. The MACRA Act of 2015 created the Quality Payment Program, or QPP as we'll refer to it. A section within the Act aimed at paying clinicians for positive patient outcomes instead of volume of care. And under the program, physicians participating will be paid in one of two ways: via MIPS, and we do believe the vast majority of providers will be paid via MIPS, and then also via what they're going to call the alternate payment models. This webinar is going to be focused strictly on MIPS, which combines parts of PQRS, meaningful use, and the value-based payment modifier into one system. And this system is based on 4 categories, performance categories. The 4 categories are quality, like PQRS, advancing care information, similar to meaningful use, improvement activities, this is new, and this is what we're discussing today, and resource use or cost. And this is not applicable at all in 2017 reporting, so we're not going to be addressing it at this time. So each performance category is worth a certain number of points. And when the points are factored together, comprise what is referred to as your composite score. And that score will determine who will get an incentive payment or a penalty. Think of the composite score as your final grade. Okay, and as I mentioned, here's the categories. The 4 categories are weighted according to difficulty. Quality, 60% of the total score. Improvement activities, 15%. And advancing care is worth 25%. And we're going to talk more about the scoring later in this presentation. So let's talk about timelines. This webinar series has been focused on the 2017 reporting period. It is the actionable period, which will impact your score. The MIPS program began in January 1st, 2017 of this year. And the length of the reporting period is determined by the participation level or path that you decide to take. Now, considering the current political climate as well as CMS and ONC's lack of clarity on what should be done after 2017, the requirements for 2018 at this time are really undeterminable. And CMS has even stated that they expect to provide more information later this year for what you'll need to do in 2018. So let's remain totally focused on what you're going to have to do now in 2017. What you do in 2017 and the path you take determines your reimbursement rate for 2019. Do nothing, and you'll experience a 4% reduction in Medicare and reimbursements in 2019. Now, since you're on this webinar, we can assume that you've decided to do something, at least given the knowledge that you have at this time. Now, you can stay on Amazing Charts 2014 certified version for all of 2017. We will be offering a new version of Amazing Charts, version 10, late this year, which will be ONC 2015 certified. All right, but you do not need that version in any part of 2017. So you're on 2014, you're fine. Currently, the ONC is requiring that you be on a 2015 version. I know these dates can get confusing, but that's what they call them. It's requiring that you be on the 2015 version, our version 10, for 90 days in next year, in 2018, which would mean that you need to have the new version 10 of Amazing Charts by October 2018 of next year. So for now, you're fine. Okay, so here's a quick review of the path. Do nothing and take the 4%. All right? Take the test path, where you do the absolute minimum and receive no penalty. Nor are you eligible for any additional payments. CMS has really made this test path simple. Their goal is really to incite providers to take some form of action. We recently posted a short tip sheet on our website that discusses the options under the test path, which will provide a little bit more information for you, encapsulation of your different options. In reality, if you understand how easy the test path is, no one needs to be taking any deduction in 2019. In our estimation, most providers complete this with 30 minutes of effort. And after today's presentation, you may find that you can meet it by literally doing nothing but attesting to one of the improvement activities that you already do. So that's it for the test path. Then there's the partial participation, where you'll report on a small number of measures, and we talked about that in our first series, quality measures, and you'll need a small number of measures, and you need to do those activities for a minimum of 90 days in 2017. And then we have full participation, all right? And full participation is where you do as much as you can for as long as you can. Think of partial and full as being on a continuum. The more measures you do, and the better you do on those measures, then the better the chances are of an increased Medicare payment in 2019. There's no guarantees of payments. It improves your chances of an increased payment.